What's going on, y'all? This is John Alsace with Facemask Fantasy. We got new up-to-date fantasy content coming your way every day on this channel, so if you have not subscribed already, then please hit that button. But before we get into our main topic for today, my co-host Nick Payne put in a ton of work to give you guys a free 2021 Redraft draft kit available on our website, which can be found at facemaskpod.com. It's a great piece of content, something that other analysts might be charging you for, but we're giving it to you for free. So without further ado, let's get into some fantasy talk. And today I wanted to talk to you guys about Jake Funk. Now, Jake Funk was selected by the Los Angeles Rams with the 233rd overall pick in the 2021 NFL Draft. Now, he played in college for the Maryland Terrapins, and unfortunately in 2018, he tore his ACL on a routine kickoff, and even though he made it through rehab in time to suit up for Week 1 of the 2019 season, in Week 3 of 2019, he tore his ACL again, and again it was on a kickoff. But again, he worked really hard and he returned to the Maryland Terrapins in 2020 and he carried the ball 60 times for 516 yards and 3 touchdowns in just 4 games due to a shortened COVID-19 season. So he's come back from 2 torn ACLs to finish second in the FBS in yards per carry in 2020 with an 8.6 yards per carry. And he also obviously brings experience returning kicks. That was what he got hit both of his torn ACLs on, but it's a trait that the Rams head coach Sean McVay will likely tap into during his rookie season in Los Angeles, despite the fact that he's injury prone, and that's where he's gotten both of his injuries. Playing on special teams is a trait that will ensure him an active roster spot on game day should he lock down an important role on special teams. I mean, we know you don't get fantasy points for most special teams plays unless you play in a league that counts return yards, but players that have that dual eligibility avoid being game day inactive, which obviously can only hurt your fantasy squad on game days should you have to rely on one of these game day inactive types on your depth chart at any point in any year. We do have to keep in mind though that because the NCAA granted everybody an extra year of eligibility due to the pandemic, the 2021 NFL Draft had 1/3 the number of prospects as a normal year because so many players opted to return to school to improve the draft stock following sitting out the 2020 COVID season. Many of those prospects could have been day 3 picks that might have pushed Funk off the draft board and into the undrafted free agent pool, so it's fair to wonder whether or not he would have been drafted at all in a regular season. But he does have plus athleticism. He ran a 4.43 40-yard dash, he had a 38-inch vertical, 10-foot 2-inch broad jump, and 22 reps on the bench. All that wrapped up amounts to an 83.8 SPARQ score, 5th best in his class for running backs. He had the 13th best 3-cone score since 2000 with 6.71. And he had a 15th best average 118.8 yards from scrimmage per game on just 14 touches per game in 2021. Now, during his college career, he averaged 7.2 yards per carry and scored 10 times on only 135 carries. Jake Funk was used lightly throughout college and only had 10 or more carries just 4 times in his college career. The results of those 4 games were 66 attempts for 560 yards, an average of 8.4 yards per carry, and 4 touchdowns. Those are great numbers for just 4 games of work. Now, Jordan Rodriguez said of the Rams that they will deploy a backfield committee of sorts to alleviate Darrell Henderson of a full workload. Now, we know that Henderson has struggled with injuries throughout his 2 NFL seasons. He's missed 4 games total and parts of other games with a variety of minor injuries. Now, it would take an outstanding preseason for Funk to move up to the number 2 position on the depth chart. But without much clarity in the Rams' backfield since Akers went down to injury, Funk might have to start out on special teams and work his way up the depth chart. But the overall talent is there, as witnessed by his athletic profile and his production in college despite limited touches. So he could absolutely be one of these undrafted free agent outliers that turns into something down the road. Considering the Akers injury, Funk will be given every opportunity this preseason to show that he can make an impact with the team in the NFL regular season. So where does that leave you in fantasy? He carries an underdog ADP of 299, so he's basically free in best balls, and he's worth an add if you're shooting for the moon with your last pick and Xavier Jones has not been picked already. I say that because I do like Xavier Jones more than I like Jake Funk, mostly due to the fact that Funk is very injury prone and mostly a special teamer up to this point, and his lack of reps at the running back position does hurt him when projecting him to an NFL workload. He will likely need time to acclimate to the position in the NFL and playing it full time. In redraft, same deal. You can add him as your last pick, maybe get the potential flex play on your team if he wins the running back 2 job, but if Xavier Jones is there with your last pick, I would rather have Xavier Jones for every reason that I mentioned above. In Dynasty, it's a little bit different of a deal. He's young, and while I don't love his long-term prospects because Akers, I believe, will be back in 2022 in some form or fashion, and there are other backs currently ahead of him on the depth chart despite the Akers injury. We got Henderson and we got Jones. Right now, he's technically fighting with Raymond Calais for that 3rd spot in the depth chart right now. He could absolutely prove himself. He has the athleticism to do so, but it's just as likely that he's a special teamer only, and the only way that he would see any RB work in this running back room would be if injuries were to hit later in the season. So what do you think? Do you guys think I'm right on Jake Funk with where I have him valued? Or do you guys think I'm absolutely crazy and this guy's gonna blow it out of the water and be a running back 1 sometime in the future? Put your thoughts in the comment section below. My name is John Alsace. This is Facemask Fantasy. We bring you new, up-to-date fantasy content every day on this channel, so if you have not hit the subscribe button, please do. But thank you for listening and have a great day.